the ladies, the couple, the mother-in-law, the mother, they all have so many mental issues, so much of fear, so much of desires, and things like that. So I could see that there was a lot happening in the mental space.
What is the most common mental health myth that you would like to debunk?
That mental health is something that cannot be treated.
Okay.
And people can't be helped.
Starting, I think the first important thing is that you accept that you have a problem. And
Yes.
then once you open the doors of your mind, then everything will definitely fall in place.
It's all about the mind.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, Dr. Shroff, and welcome to the About Her show. This is a show where we get trailblazing women to share the story of their lives with us, to tell us about their successes, failures, ups and downs, all of it. And not only do they get to showcase their journey, but they also provide us with an opportunity to inspire other women who are listening in. Women who have dreams, ambitions, aspirations, but for some reason are not able to pursue them. So this gives them a lot of inspiration. And along with such women, we also get men on the show, men who champion such women. But
Wonderful.
sometimes we have conversations on specific topics, topics which we feel need to be addressed. But again, people tend to ignore them. And I think mental health is one of them. And in
Right.
light of the fact that 10th October is observed as the World Health Mental Day every year, I thought that we need to focus on this. Like, I always feel that mental health is like that elephant in the room that nobody wants to acknowledge. We know it's there, but
Absolutely.
we either brush it under the carpet or we, just try to normalize the situation, which is not how it should be. But thankfully, I think one of the things that came out of COVID was the fact that people started talking about it and accepting that there is something known as mental health issues. So who better than you, who has, of course, so much experience in this space? You're running this Lighthouse Counseling Center, which focuses on the mental health of women. So we thought that why not get you on the show and have a conversation focused on mental health. So a very, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
And your thoughts of getting the entire issue of mental health, especially for women, is very close to my heart.
Yeah.
And I can't thank you enough.
You're more than welcome. And I think we should be thanking you for taking time out.
Not at all.
So let's dive in. And just, to begin, so if you could share some part of your, early life, your journey, and how did you get into the space of, medicine and mental health?
So basically, I always wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
And I knew nothing else but the desire to be a doctor.
Okay.
So I was very fond of it. I grew up in nature. I grew up in the Northeast, was born and brought up in Shillong. And, with nature, what happens is you're one with yourself. And I was always in the hills, and there's a stream and things like that. My childhood went off that way. And education was very good because we had our convent schools there. And then my parents got transferred to Delhi. So we came here.
Okay.
And then medical school happened and things like that. So when I was in medical school, obviously you go ahead with, doing what you get also, because you try to choose, but you can't choose. So one of my choices definitely was psychiatry.
Okay.
And, but that didn't happen. I went into OBGY. Went into infertility, and then my career till now has been in regenerative medicine as well as infertility. So in the infertility process, it's the ladies, the couple, the mother-in-law, the mother, they all have so many mental issues, so much of fear, so much of desires, and things like that. So I could see that there was a lot happening in the mental space, which was not being addressed. And I would have to address the mind for me to be able to put 2 + 2 together and give them a baby.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
So that's how I got more and more interested in psychology and psychiatry and the mind.
All right. So before we move on to the next question, I must tell you that I was also born in Shillong.
Oh my goodness, which school?
No, I was
That's
just
a
born
small
there.
world.
It is so I was born when I was 6 months old. My dad got transferred to London. So just the birth part of
Ah,
it. And recently I went back and I went to the hospital. It was called the Mission Hospital at that time.
I was born there.
Okay. All right. Okay.
This is strange. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yes. And I haven't ever met anyone who was born in Shillong. Now I've met you.
Wow, that's
Yes.
amazing because I was born there and I went to school to in Loreto Convent in
That's
Shillong.
where my sister studied.
Oh, good Lord, we
Yeah.
have a lot in common.
Yes. 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 So yeah. All
Wonderful.
right. Small world indeed.
Small
Okay.
world. What's your sister's name, if you don't mind?
Her name is it was Harinder, and but she was known as Daisy because she didn't want to. So I come from a Sikh family, so she didn't want to
So do
be.
I.
Oh, okay, all right,
But my mother is Sikh and
okay,
my father is from there. He's Assamese. So
all right.
I'm a product of both the West and the East.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So she didn't like her name, so that is why she was known by
Ah,
her pet name, so to say, which is Daisy. So she studied there
Daisy.
in that school. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful.
So okay, so coming back to our conversation. So tell me, Dr. Shroff, was there a pivotal moment in your life when you realized the importance of mental health? Or was it just a progression, a gradual progression?
Um, I would say it was like, it is a gradual progression because as a doctor, you're dealing with lots of patients and then you do have to give some kind of talking and making them understand and things like that. But to be honest, psychiatry in the mental space always interested me.
Okay.
And I remember that when I was doing a house job at Safdarjung Hospital, and
Mm.
one of the very young girl was given to us, and she was having a lot of issues, mental issues. So
Okay.
that's the time when and she took a long time to recover. And she was dedicated to me because she could relate to me and things like that. And that is when I saw the sufferings, the mental anguish that patients go through, both
Hmm,
men and women,
hmm, hmm,
and that stayed with me. However, life took its own course, and I told you, like, I moved on and I took up infertility and all, and there is where more,
hmm,
like visions and thoughts of how mental health is so important,
hmm.
other than the physical health, which I'm already dealing with
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
treating. So that's where it happened.
So that means it kind of struck a chord, but then, like,
But
you know,
yeah, gradually.
gradually. So things happen when they are meant to happen. The timing has to be
Absolutely.
right. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So of course, you are dealing with the mental health of others, and of course, we ourselves have, these kind of issues. So,
Hmm.
what are some of the most effective coping strategies you have found for managing stress and anxiety in your life?
For me, being regular, I mean, it's all the things that everyone knows,
Hmm.
but being regular, very disciplined.
Okay.
I do things accordingly every single day, whatever I feel like and I have to do.
Hmm.
And when, like when I feel that I do get a little stressed out, I
Hmm.
take a little nap or I read a book.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
either one of these two.
Hmm.
And my routine is such that before I go to work or before I deal with other things,
Hmm.
there is a little part of me that I give me myself, and that's the early morning. So
Hmm.
I get up and I do my own thing and I'm happy. So it's all regularity, discipline. I try to eat well. I try to work out. So
Hmm.
I guess it's a continuous process of nurturing yourself.
Yeah, that is so true. I think
Yeah.
especially women tend to neglect themselves, in the process of looking after the entire house, the family, and
Yeah.
everything. We tend to neglect ourselves. But even if we are able to spend a little bit of time with ourselves doing the things that we want, I think they can go a long way in helping us?
It's very hard. It's
It is.
very hard. You're right.
Hmm.
And, like in my role of a mom, first a daughter,
Yeah.
then sister, that side of the family had to be taken care of. Then your own family with your children and your husband.
Hmm.
Then I have an extended family with my patients.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and then so I'm an animal lover. So all these things, I had to take care. But it's not just me. I think all of us, we
Hmm.
have this problem. We have so many roles to play.
Right. Right.
And, if you don't have help at home, then you
Yeah.
have to even look after the kitchen and, the whole works. So it's
Hmm.
not easy being a woman.
It isn't. It isn't. I totally
Yeah.
agree. And then I
Yeah.
think when you add the working part to it, the professional dimension, it becomes
Yes,
even more difficult because then you have another aspect. So
absolutely.
when you are trying to kind of strike a balance between your professional responsibilities and your personal mental well-being, how do you do that?
As I said, what I love being a doctor. I loved what I do. It's my passion. So
Hmm.
I guess I don't feel the strain and stress of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, but when I do come home, let's say after a hard day at work, when I come home, I take half an hour to myself. I
Okay.
sit and I have my cup of tea.
Hmm.
And then I do have dogs and I love going to the garden. So
Okay.
I use those as part, and anyway, you have to look after it, right?
Of course.
After all this. So that becomes my release. And in
Okay.
the morning, like I wake up at 5:30. So I
Hmm.
go out into the garden. Spend time just walking around and I feel very happy after that.
Hmm.
And then I go to work and I'm happy there also. So
Wow.
I'm a happy person. So I don't really get too stressed, which is a good thing.
I think, like you very aptly mentioned that if you love what you're doing,
Yes.
that makes a lot of difference because then you're looking forward to every day. I mean, the day
Yes.
is not something that is going to be full of drudgery or doing something that you don't want. So you look forward to
Yes.
that part and then everything kind of fits in together, because
Yes.
you're
And
basically doing that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you love what you do, you're right. It's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And also, I find that I don't get into the rat race of being with what do you call it? Being with society, so as to
Yeah.
speak. I
Okay.
mean, nothing, these things don't bother me. I feel that material things don't really, if someone has something more great, if someone has something less, let's help them.
Hmm.
So I feel that that pressure is not on me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it releases a lot of, energies,
Yeah.
and I can dedicate it to my own self or my patients or my family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is what it is. But you have to love what you do. That's
Absolutely.
the main thing.
I think that's a given. You have to love it,
Yes.
otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So, as I mentioned, post COVID, there has been a lot of, how should I say, acceptance of the fact that
Yes.
there are mental health issues. I mean, it is a reality of our life. And so,
Right.
societal perceptions towards this are changing, right? But what do you think, and how do you think these perceptions have changed over the years? And what do you think still needs to be done as far as, going ahead in this space is concerned?
See, initially, when I was in my practice,
Mm-hmm.
to be for anyone to come and admit I have anxiety or
Hmm.
I'm depressed,
Yeah.
it was a big thing. And
Hmm.
they would do it, in a hush hush, doctor, aapko kya batao, like my daughter-in-law has depression. Can you explain to her not to be anxious and things like that?
Hmm.
But now people come up and they talk to us. Hey, I'm anxious. I need my me time. I need to chill and I'll come back to you in 15 minutes or I'll come back to you later. So they're very open about it in their day to day.
Okay.
Many youngsters also admit to the fact that they have therapists. And
Hmm.
I do think that COVID
Yeah.
really, really opened up the need for mental health and the acceptance of mental health
Mm-hmm.
as a problem or as a thing to be looked after.
Yeah.
I feel we really, the whole society underwent change there. And
Hmm.
today, because a lot of things during COVID, we all went online, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
even right now, I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
and doctors, we were giving consultations online. And so mental health specialists also gave consults, online. So
Mm-hmm.
youngsters were availing of therapy, and today that's not a bad word anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a very good thing, but we have a long way to go,
Definitely.
you know. And
Definitely.
even schools and other clinics and other specialities, they all are required to offer mental health counseling and psychology related, issues to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
They're required to do it. So we have come a long way, still a long way to go.
Course, of course. I think what is essential is that we need to realize and accept that just like physical ailments, we can have mental health
Yes,
ailments, and it is equally
absolutely.
natural. It is all right. It is okay. And we need to deal with them. Because you see, I think with
Absolutely.
physical ailments, what happens is because the discomfort is immediate, we want to address it immediately. Whereas we don't realize that mental health issues can have a long-term toll, long-term
Yes.
repercussions. So we cannot kind of just ignore them.
Yes.
Then
And
it's
you have to,
explosive,
yeah.
when it happens. So yeah, so you were saying?
Yes. Yeah, so basically, right now, if we understand that mental health is a problem, which we are slowly understanding it, um, it will help the individual and society as a whole.
Yeah,
You
correct.
know, I feel that special, and for me, because I'm a co-founder for Lighthouse Counseling Center,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel, and this is only for women.
Hmm.
So we are trying to address all the issues that a woman faces in all her various stages of life,
Yeah,
and I think if we address it well, in time, these
yeah,
ladies will definitely grow into being a better person or a more complete person, because mentally she'll be, guided and supported and things like that. And she'll be able to cope with whatever she goes through. So
right.
that is what, yeah, we feel.
Okay. So, do you also think that when it comes to accepting and addressing mental health challenges, the cultural background of individuals plays a role in that?
Yes, it does, simply because the awareness now is in the educated class.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have the education, if your mind doesn't know that there can be a thing called mental health issue,
Hmm.
then the uneducated, I'm not talking literacy, I'm talking uneducated in the mental space, they
Yeah.
are not going to be able to understand. They will say, oh, my son or my daughter, she doesn't do anything, she just like keeps lying down and sleeping all the time or something, but there is a mental health issue going on. So
Yes.
there are different kinds of people who accept it. I
Hmm.
feel the educated are now accepting and addressing it, and
Yeah.
they're like, like parents like me or my friends, what we have understood that, oh, if our kid has a therapist, it's really good. At
Hmm. Hmm.
least she'll get help, he'll
Yes.
get help.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we feel very good about it, right? But then there will be another person, like, I would say some, let's say a driver's son. They
Yeah.
need that boy to go out and work. They need that girl to get married, but she's sleeping all the time and he's not. He's sitting in his room all the time. Then what do? They are frustrated. They also go through their own mental stress, so it becomes a vicious cycle.
Yes. Yes. You're right. But you also have a point that I think more and more people are accepting it. And I'm especially, seeing this in the younger generation. Like my younger son talks
Yes.
about, it being absolutely normal to see a therapist or to just
Yeah.
get another view. Because he says that, it's not like you have an issue. Sometimes, you and people around you can only give you one perspective. But if you talk to someone who is a specialist in this field, they'll enable you to look at things in a different way. It's always good.
Yes.
And I think that is something which is very, very good and very positive. So,
Yes, absolutely. And not see what happens is these youngsters, as I don't know how old your son is,
20.
but yeah, okay. So he's in the Gen Z.
Yes.
And what happens with them is that they are exposed to so much at this age. They know so much at
Hmm.
this age. We never knew this much,
We didn't. We
you
didn't.
know? Yeah. And then the social media, the expectations on them, the fast world, not getting exposed when they were teenagers because of COVID to other,
Yeah.
normal, natural things. They understand a lot.
Yes.
And yes, almost everyone wants to go to have a therapist, which is
Correct.
great.
Which is
They
great.
talk to them, and the therapist will say, hey, why are you on social media? Don't you know there are filters on? Don't
Hmm.
you know that you can't look that perfect, especially for girls?
Oh,
The
yes.
body image issues are tremendous problem for them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they will see their friends having a false life and they think, oh, that is life. Then the counselor can pull them back and
Hmm.
say, hey, no, this is not, this is okay. This is life. Come back. So
True.
things like that. And it gives them someone to talk to.
Absolutely. Yeah. But tell me, yes, there is awareness, acceptance, and all of that is happening. But despite that, there is a lot of stigma, still attached
Mm,
around mental health. So,
right.
have you ever faced any such situation and how did you deal with it? Or how would you suggest somebody who thinks they need help but are not able to get it because of the stigma? What would you tell them and how to go about it?
See, you'll need to sit and explain to the person, the caretaker, basically. I mean, obviously, the child or the person doesn't really know that he has a problem because in his mind, what he's going through is normal,
Hmm.
right? But
Hmm.
the bystanders or these support systems that that person has
Yeah.
understands that that is not okay. So
Hmm.
and they feel, oh, okay, no, I can't tell anyone he has a mental problem because how what will people think of me, it's not okay. They'll think I was a bad parent, or they'll think that I didn't do my job, like they start thinking like that too. So I guess you need to sit and explain to them because they themselves are going through a mental trauma,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
see, of having a loved one going through a mental problem.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
So you need to counsel the support system
Hmm.
and then with their guide help and guidance seek professional help and make them understand that the mind is part of the body, it's an organ.
Yes.
It
True.
is a part of the body, it is the most important part of your body,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? 3 minutes it takes and you're gone if your brain doesn't work. And
True.
the mental health starts there, not the physical part, but the other part. So we
Yeah.
have to take care of it.
Right. 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 Okay. So, of course, you interact with so many people who have mental health issues, and you've been doing it for so long. And of course,
Mhm.
you say that, and we all know that there is awareness and exposure and all of that. But there are still some, very common misconceptions regarding this whole, space that still exist. And can you just share some of those which you feel need to be addressed? The common misconceptions around mental health?
See, one would be that mental health is there forever. The mental health problem will stay there forever.
Okay.
You're mentally affected forever in your life. But that's not true. If a person is anxious today, he may not be anxious 10 years later.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Okay, he may be depressed today, but he need not be. And even if he could be, there are medicines to help. It is not a crime to take those medications. It's absolutely okay. So
Hmm.
that you take that medicine and then you function in life. So that's another misconception. No, 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 I can't have this medicine, it's not going to be okay. How will I ever get off it? You will get off it. There are ways to get off it. And you don't need to get off it if you can't handle life. So though that's another misconception. Then a misconception that I'm very strong. Say, for example, for me, oh, I'm very strong, I'm very happy. But that's denial.
Yes.
I obviously have some stress somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm able to cope with it because I know what to do.
Right. Right.
Right. So, denial.
Hmm.
Denial that somebody is suffering or you yourself are suffering from that mental health.
Hmm. Hmm.
And also, the other thing is that, oh, I have a mental health problem, then I'm weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? I mean, I'm not a strong person. This is not okay. People will judge me. So, that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
these are very common kind of thoughts that happen with
Hmm.
patients when they start dealing with mental health, or even if you tell them, look, come in for counseling, it'll really help you. They will think, what's wrong with me?
Hmm.
So these are the problems that we face in trying to give mental health to our patients.
Right, right, right. Yeah, because still, there is some, like we talked about the stigma part of it. People do
Yes, there
feel
is.
mental health is forever. And if I have a problem, then, maybe, I mean, that acceptance just does not come. People, I
No,
think,
no.
just want to live in denial that this is okay. And that's why I think they tend to normalize,
Yes,
right? That,
yes,
yeah, something, this is fine.
absolutely.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
if someone has blood pressure problems, they're taking a tablet, right? If you
absolutely.
have diabetes, they are taking a tablet. When you have a mental problem, take a tablet
Yes.
or go to the counselor.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the same thing. You go to the doctor, go to the counselor.
yeah, yeah.
So that denial that the mind is an organ that can be affected.
Hmm, hmm,
And
hmm.
obviously, it's your thoughts and emotions that are going to be affected.
Right.
That acceptance has to come fully.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So, Dr. Shroff, now supposing there is a person, so I know that I have an issue, I need to get it sorted, right? So, I need help, but I don't know where to begin. So, how does one just get onto it, get onto the journey, or start the process of dealing with the mental health challenge?
See, right now, with in today's world and post-COVID, everything, as I said earlier, that everything is there online, So
Hmm.
people who are literate, people who can go online, and mostly everyone does,
Yeah, yeah.
just search for the mental health counselors, or just say how to get better from mental health. Now you also have your WhatsApp, in that you have Meta. Ask them the question, how do I get it in South Delhi, or how do I get it in North Delhi, or whatever.
Yeah,
So it's very easy, you can search. And
yeah.
the other way is, like, if you don't have this facility,
Hmm.
I feel that a lot of doctors and the primary healthcare and the mohalla clinics and all, they should be able to get help from there.
Oh,
Basic at least.
okay.
Like the doctor there would be sitting at the mohalla clinic and saying, look, you need to go in, you have anxiety. Go and meet a counselor or a psychiatrist, or, that way. So that can be done.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. Nowadays, online, everything is available. So just
Yes.
whether starting, I think the first important thing is that you accept that you have a problem. And
Yes.
then once you open the doors of your mind, then everything will definitely fall in place.
It's all about the mind.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me something now, again, like we live in a world, in a society which is coming to accept this challenge, but we're still not there, we still have a long way to go. And especially in the context of a woman I'm talking about, she knows that something is not right with me and I need to get it addressed. But I cannot use the conventional methods of maybe seeing a therapist or going and seeing a doctor. Then what do I do? I know I need help, but how do I get that help?
um Again, depends. Nowadays it's all online.
So even this kind of
Like,
advice will be available online?
yes, I mean, this is where you see, there are various types. What you've asked me is that a female knows that there is a problem but doesn't know how to get the help, right? Or what
But
help
she
to get.
cannot go, I mean, she cannot accept it and acknowledge and tell her family that she has this help. So she can't use therapy because she cannot.
Yes. So in that case, I mean, if she's strong and she can work on herself,
Hmm,
but like taking a step back and saying, talking to herself and saying, look, I am more than my role,
hmm,
whatever role I'm playing. I am more than that. I need to get do something for myself.
hmm.
And that is why, in the old days, you would have all our ladies going for the satsangs and going to the gurdwaras and the mandirs, and all. This was their stress buster,
Yeah, yeah.
and then that was very accepted. Oh, the lady is in the mandir, don't bother her. We'll go and get our own glass of water.
Hmm,
So things like that, right? So she'll need to do the same in the modern world. Modern world is very different, but
hmm,
that is what one can do for yourself. And if she can, online, as I said, is a good way. She can just sit in her room, take an hour counseling, and you know help herself. So that is way. And the other thing is, definitely she should also realize, and our job is to tell her this, that you need to look after your body,
yes,
and your diet. You can't put your diet the last. You're
Right.
feeding everybody the correct food, and your turn comes, you'll just have your toast and move on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or
Hmm.
I don't want to eat, I'm putting things in my bag and I'm going to eat it later.
Yeah.
I'll eat late, I will eat at 4 o'clock in the evening after everything is done,
Hmm.
lunch.
Right.
So
Right.
those kind of things. So she needs to look after her diet, her body, so that the brain gets the correct nutrients and the entire,
Hmm.
food and all the electrolytes that it needs.
Right.
And she then can take care of herself more that way.
So
Go for a walk.
yes, I think that is important. So, like what they keep talking about nowadays, self-love, looking after
Yes.
yourself, putting on that, the mask before you help others, like, that sort
Yes.
of
In
a
the
thing.
plane.
That
Yeah.
charity begins at home and all of those things. I think those are things that they need
Yes.
to look into. And I think the first step is the fact that you have a problem. And
That's the main thing.
that's a battle which you've kind of accepted it, and then you can find ways and means. And I'm sure if you go out and interact with people, you get onto these things, maybe go to the gurdwara or do these satsangs, you will find women, you will talk to them, and sometimes I think just talking to someone also helps, just
Yes.
unburdening yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and this what we've used the examples of the gurdwaras and the temples, etc., is like the older our grandmothers and all would do that. In fact, even my mother-in-law would do that even now.
Yeah.
So they remain happy, right? But
Right.
today's society, it's a very individualistic society. It's a fake world with the social media, etc.
Correct.
So for them to realize that, look, there is a life beyond that phone and the computer, I
Hmm.
feel, and that I can get better just by limiting my time.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That's also very important. And
Hmm.
then I feel that today's generations, as well as ladies, even our age and things like that, there's a lot of alcohol intake.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you limit that too, the lady will start feeling better.
Right. Right. Right.
So those are the things, small, small things.
Yeah. 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 So, Dr. Shroff, of course, mental health is not something that only women have to go through. Men also have their issues and different
Yes.
issues. But of
Yes.
course, these issues manifest differently for women, right? So, then how can the world around these women help them to cope up with all these struggles that they face? And in the light of that, if you could also tell us about what you're doing in your center towards this.
Okay. So, men definitely have a lot of mental issues.
Hmm.
I feel that because they are supposed to perform and provide,
Yeah.
they go under a lot of stress.
True.
Like normally you have a couple and a husband and a wife. The wife can sit at home and say, I'm a housewife. The
Correct.
housewife has got a lot of work to do. She is too busy, too difficult. It's, that life is.
Hmm.
But at the same time, the man knows that he has to provide the
Right.
manly role, right?
True.
So he goes through a lot of stress too.
Hmm.
A
Hmm.
female's stress is of different role playing, of
Hmm.
different states of her hormones.
Right.
You
Right.
have to realize this, that at menarche you will have a different kind of stress.
Right.
A postmenopausal or a perimenopausal will have a different kind of stress. And
Right.
as you age and you're osteoporotic and you can't walk and your knees are giving up and your back is giving up, you'll have another kind of a stress.
Correct.
So a female is a lot of our moods, etc., is dictated by our hormones too,
Yeah. Yeah.
besides everything else. So
Right.
I feel that the understanding of the female system has to be inculcated in the females themselves. They should understand why they're going through what they're going through and
Right.
how to cope with it.
Right.
And the men obviously around them will understand slowly. The female will educate her partner and her children and her, society at large.
Okay.
So I guess that is what would happen. And to answer the second part of your question, we have this center which is dedicated totally to women.
Okay.
It's a medical center. It
Right.
is the medical part is called Nubella,
Mm-hmm.
and in that we offer specialists of all kinds for women. Like you'll have a surgeon, you'll have general physician, an aesthetic medicine, medicine specialist, and you'll have dental services. You have all the medical services under one roof. And Lighthouse Counseling Center is a very major part of this, and that is for the mental well-being of a woman. In Lighthouse, we offer, let's say, individual therapy, which is obvious, right? Counseling individually. Then we also have group therapies, workshops, and workshops are all curated. Supposing you come to me and say, I have 5, 10 ladies of our age and we want to learn about perimenopausal symptoms. So we will have a workshop on that. Or another one comes and says, my kids can't perform. Please tell me what to do. So then we'll have a workshop on that. So we have curated workshops also. Most interestingly, we also help the lady in her career profiling, in the sense like, young girls, what do you want to take? Why should you take this? What's your aptitude? And even ladies who want to change their jobs, who have gone through, taking care of kids and want to join back. What do you join back as? What is your interest, so that you love what you work, what you're good at? So we offer that too. And there is another very interesting concept which we have, like the community-based group therapy counseling. We have a center which is called a space. It's called the Harbor.
Okay.
And that is a community-centric space. The lady can come there and get a book along and just read, just be there for 3 hours, 4 hours in a day. She can come, she can meet like-minded people. There are activities which are they're designed to help you grow mentally and to help you grow. And if she says, look, I don't want to do anything, don't do anything. Just come and chill. But always be the guidance of a counselor. The counselor will be able to understand what the patient is going through and what the person needs. And accordingly, we'll help the person grow. So this is a very novel concept that we have. I find it very novel, to give a lady a space away from home where she can have her own time, grow herself, be at peace, and go back and go.
That's actually excellent, because I think a lot of women don't do this. They don't take that time out. So I'm saying they'd always be, wrapped up in one thing or the other, which has to do with the others. No time for themselves, and there is never a break. So I think this is excellent, because perforce you have to go and sit there and do nothing, which I think is all that they need.
And also, like what happens is, where you go to either a mall. We live in Delhi. Okay. You're either going to a mall, you'll go to a coffee shop. It gets too hot. You can't go to your markets. How much can you do some shopping? How many restaurants can you go to? And, and you can't go clubbing. I mean, what is this? So you need a space. And that space where your mind will grow. Where you will meet people, where you will be yourself. No one is judging you. Just come and be. So that is what we have started off.
Yes. And that, I think, is a very safe place where you can just be. I think that is
absolutely
so required.
And remember, this place of mine is I'm a co-founder. So it's for women. There are only women. So you can come in your tiniest of shorts and nobody's going to look at you also.
Right. That is
like you're safe. You're very safe that way.
Yes. Yeah.
Otherwise, even you go anywhere, you have to, is this showing? Is it not showing?
Yeah.
Nothing. You can be yourself.
That, I think, is absolutely incredible. All right. So again, while we are talking about mental health, and we know that both men and women have these challenges, but do you as a woman feel that women's mental health issues do not get as much attention as they should, or you don't think there's much of a difference between men and women when it comes to that?
See, in India, and in my experience, now things have changed. But it's always been, we have a son complex.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yes. So it's always been more about the man, less about the woman. And we women are very resilient. We are very strong, and we continue to be strong physically and mentally. But today, boys and girls are brought up equal.
Yeah.
The youngsters are all equal.
Yeah.
Girls are very well spoken, very cultured, very educated, very capable.
Yeah.
So they know. So I feel today, as of today's scenario, we are equal.
Hmm.
But I do feel that a little bit tips in the favor of men. They
Okay.
do get more care.
Okay. Okay.
Like if a man is not working and not doing things and all,
Hmm.
it bothers. It bothers the whole family.
Right.
And
Right.
a female doesn't get a chance to go into that mode.
Okay.
Like even if she's depressed, she still has to get up. Like I'm talking about, let's say, a family where you have a joint family, she still has to get up and offer that cup of tea to her in-laws.
Right.
Those kind of things are still there, right?
Right.
So she doesn't have that luxury.
Hmm.
So again, luxury is not there. Nobody understands that
Yes.
what she's going through.
And probably she herself, maybe even if she understands, she does not have the time to acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it, as well as like we are, I think, so strong, that's why we're able to multitask and play so many roles.
Right.
So she says, okay, tomorrow is another day, it's all right. That acceptance is there.
Yes. Right. Right. Right.
So that's what happens, I feel,
Hmm. Hmm.
in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Yeah, but that is true. That is true. We all do this, so we kind of are familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Dr. Shroff, looking ahead,
Hmm.
what do you think the future of mental health looks like, and how do you see technology and societal changes shaping, the whole attitude and the way we are dealing with it?
See, I feel that in the future
Hmm.
we are going to, we all, I mean, okay, let's talk about what we can do as an individual, like I can do as an individual. We are
Hmm.
trying to get the mental world and mental space organized and, offered to women
Yeah, yeah.
all over so that they can come and be very comfortable in expressing themselves. So that is one. But I do feel on the um, like on the regulatory side, on the government side, there are people, countries that are taking into cognizance that the social media and all these kind of things are affecting the mental health. They
Hmm.
are coming and talking about how they are going to restrict till 16 years of age, the Insta page and this and that. I mean, I'm not sure exactly which one is what, but
But yeah,
there
yeah.
are talks about it. And
Hmm.
if that happens and the youngsters are not they are um, not exposed very young to things that they should not be, what their brains can't process,
Hmm.
and that quick gratification part goes away. Because today, if you're not a millionaire at 30 and you don't own a house by 30, you're a failure, right? But that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
So then you're mentally gone. And
Right.
if the girl is not looking like a model, then she's, oh my God, what is wrong with you? Type of thing, right? So
Hmm.
if those things are taken care of, I feel, and I do think people are getting more and more aware.
Yes.
Like you are there, you do have the addiction centers in the Western world for the phones and for teenagers to de-addict from these things.
Right.
So I
Right.
guess once we understand this as a society, the coming generations would get better. And in the meanwhile, let's, try and help as professionals the people who are affected already.
Right, right. I think that is very, very critical because we help them.
Right.
And then, of course, we try to build a world where all these pressures are not there. At least we take
Yes.
a step in the right direction. It
Yes.
may be a drop in the ocean, but then every
Yeah,
time,
but still,
yeah,
like what happened is when we started with vaccines many years ago,
yeah,
it slowly, just a smallpox vaccine was there, and then we moved on. The polio vaccine came in, the chickenpox vaccine, everything came in, right?
right, right,
So slowly there was an acceptance, and slowly today we are now smallpox free. So
right,
similarly, we have to, it's a small drop right now, it will become a movement. And the people who've suffered, like the youngsters today, and no, I would say not the older people because they are quite not accepting of the fact.
Yeah.
But let's say the youngsters today, they will become parents and they will understand, oh, let's not do this because we went through this.
Right, 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 right.
So,
So,
you never know.
yeah,
So that's what the hope is.
yes. And of course, we have to be positive, and I'm sure, with that positivity, we should be able to deal with this like everything else.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So, Dr. Shroff,
Absolutely.
now we come to the final part of the conversation, which is the rapid fire round. Five quick
Oh,
questions, fun questions, and five quick answers.
okay.
Yeah?
All right.
All right.
All right.
First one. Your favorite self-care activity that never fails.
Sitting with my dogs.
Okay, very nice. All right. Um, then if you could give one piece of advice to your teenage self, what would it be?
Teenage self.
Yeah.
Nothing really. I love reading, so I was reading all the time.
All right. Okay. All right.
So I'm happy. I was happy as a teenager because I read
Fine.
and read and read.
Okay. All right. The next one. What is the most common mental health myth that you would like to debunk?
That mental health is something that cannot be treated
Okay.
and people can't be helped.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a myth. People can be helped, and
Yeah.
it is not a permanent thing.
All
A
right.
lot of conditions. There are some clinical ones, we'll not go there.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. What is your favorite song to boost your mood instantly?
What? Hum honge kamyab.
Okay.
That's one. And
All
I
right.
have a dream. And I have a
Okay.
dream. I
That's
love that.
very cute. I love that song too. Yes.
Yeah, because that's the dream. That's me. I
Yeah.
always feel that I have a dream.
Yes.
Always.
And that is kind of, taking you forward, because dream means
Yes. Because
you're
they're
looking
pushing
ahead.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
So
So
true.
these are my two songs.
All right. Okay. And the final question.
Uh-huh.
Mindfulness or meditation? Which one do you prefer?
Which one? Mindfulness or
Mindfulness or
meditation?
meditation? Yes.
What do you mean by mindfulness?
I mean, before you do something, I mean, you're mindful of what is it that you're going to be doing? What are the repercussions of it? So how would you kind of, look at the two of them? What do you prefer?
Mindfulness.
All right. Okay. So that brings us to the end of the rapid fire round and also the conversation. And if I may say, it was an absolute pleasure, because not only I think was what you said very, very insightful, but it is the need of the hour. Everybody needs to know about it. Everybody needs to accept it. And I think our conversation should go a long way in, clearing up so many myths, misconceptions that surround this topic of mental health. So thank you so much for being on the show. An absolute pleasure.
No, thank you so much because it was a real pleasure. And you are bringing mental health to so many people, to your audience, to the world at large. And it's only people like you who will, you have the voice. So, you're using that voice. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.